Alrighty, folks, welcome to episode 36 of the New Favorite Things video podcast. Today, we're going to talk about how teachers can create newsletters to communicate expectations and upcoming events with students and their parents, but do it in a way that doesn't require a weekly email. So, Google Slides is kind of my go to way of doing this. And I've been doing this for a couple of years with my swim team. And Google Slides is great because I can publish a link to the web, and then that single link can be used every single week for my students. So here's an example. This was one that we did a couple weeks ago. So I like that inside of Google Slides, I can automatically link to specific information or specific documents that I need my students to have. So maybe I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen, we have a banquet coming up. Please be sure to reserve tickets using this link. Now, inside of my Google Drive, I could have a Google form for my banquet. Here's the banquet form. I can get my link to that. I can come back into my newsletter, and then I can highlight. And you can do this a couple of ways. You can right click and then go down to link, or I can highlight it and then hit Control K and then paste in my link there. Okay. I also like that Google Slides will let me integrate other documents that I have. So I've got a lot of spreadsheets that are calculating things like our house cup standings and how many points each house has, or upcoming events, and then it filters out which ones have already passed. And then it has this little update button anytime that you have a linked document. So when I click update, now it's going to give me the updated values. I might have to make a couple of adjustments here and there. Same thing down here. If I click update, should be that we've passed all of those upcoming events. I can come down here and I can insert videos as well. So if I want to say insert video, I can either upload a video that is in my Google Drive. So maybe I create a Loom video or Screencastify video explaining some of the upcoming events. Or maybe I come in here and I search YouTube and I give like a video of the week. And I can put in a link there. So once I've got all of this done, there's a couple things that I need to do to make sure that my students have access to it. I'm going to come up here to share. I'm going to change it so that anyone on the internet has access to it. Sometimes Google gets weird with their permissions, and even though it's going to be a published link, sometimes it still requires this. We're not going to copy this link. Instead, I'm going to come up here to File, and then drop down to Publish to the Web. And then it's going to, let's take a look at what it would look like normally. It's going to have something like this where it says auto advance slides, restart slides, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to click on publish. And then this is going to be the link that I'm going to send out to my students. So I'm going to get this link, copy it, and I can send this to my students through Skyward, through Seesaw, through Google Classroom, through any learning management system that I have. And then my students are going to have access to it. Now, a lot of teachers like to say, but I like to have kind of archived versions of my newsletters. Well, here's what you can do for that. If I need to go back 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, I can come up here to File, slide down to Version History, see my version history, and then I can go through and I can see exactly the changes that I made on what date. I can also come in, I can restore it to this version, I can make a copy of that version, or if I wanted to, I can go File, Version History, and I can name the current version. I'm going to call this one 05/04/2021. Save. So now when I go and look at my version history, I can see what it was on 5/4, what it was on March 2nd. And it would be really easy for me to be able to keep this and have it be something that I can use again the following year for the first week of May and the things that we're using then. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope it's a communication tool that you can use with your students and with your parents, but I also think that this can be something great that you use for your students. Maybe there's an upcoming assignment or an upcoming test that's going to happen, and you want to send a published link to those students so that they can just kind of click through. It looks really nice on a cell phone or on a tablet device just to be able to swipe through and look at the different documents, and there's no app required. It just pulls up like a website. So whenever I get that link, copy it, send it to my students, it's going to pull up just like a normal website would. And they'll be able to scroll in on their phones and kind of look at it a little bit more easily on their phones than they would on a device when it comes to the page layout looking like this. Hope that was helpful. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at GISD Tech 2 and at Coach Polano, and we'll see you next time.